What's up, everybody? Welcome to Conversation Piece with Patrick Armstrong. I am the titular Patrick, and this is a show where we talk about the missing pieces of the conversations we're already having. Shout out to our returning listeners, and a high five and hello to everybody joining us for the very first time. Thank you so much. November is National Adoption Awareness Month. For too long, adoptee voices have not been centered in conversations around adoption, and that has led to a one-sided narrative dominated by adoptive parents and adoption agencies. For the last few years or so, even longer actually, that's been changing. And this month, we're joining the chorus of adoptees who have been sharing their stories by highlighting Asian American adoptees right here in Indiana. Today, I am joined by Amy Plocharczyk, an Asian American adoptee, diving coach, and newly minted social worker. Amy, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Super excited to have you here. Amy and I met probably 8 months ago, I would say. I don't know, within the last year.
Yeah.
And we are part of the Indiana adoptee group of Asian adoptees. Mm-hmm. And we were talking before we got into the studio about having met in person just one time.
Yeah.
At a dinner.
At dinner, yeah.
But we had a really great conversation that night, and I'm really excited to be able to have you here to have this conversation today. I gave a few introductory pieces about you, but for anybody who's listening or watching who may not know who you are, do you mind sharing a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I grew up on the north side of Indy in a suburb. I'm currently a diving coach, and I work at a bar for fun. I love it. I completed my undergrad at Miami University in Ohio, and then I completed my master's in social work at Indy, University of Indianapolis. And on the adoption side of things, I am reconnected or like in a reunion with all of my biological siblings and some extended family members, but...
Okay, amazing. How many siblings are you reunited with, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so on my maternal side, there's 5 of us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all girls. And then on the paternal side, there's also 5 of us, but 2 brothers and 4 girls.
So you are one of 10 total siblings then on both sides? 11?
I'm going to say yes, but
we're not doing math.
We don't know if everyone. Yeah. There's some siblings that are too young right now, so we don't know if there could be more too. So.
Okay. Well, I know that we're not going to dive into the particulars of your story, but I think that's really, really interesting. There are you have a ton of sibling connections here, and you're connected with all of them. Do you mind sharing just a little bit about that process? Like, when did you first reconnect with your siblings? So
I first reconnected with my first sibling when I'd say about 2015-ish. Don't quote me on that, but it's a funny story because I was actually at a diving meet and I got a random DM from this random girl on Twitter, and I thought it was spam because this girl was like, "Hey, I think we're siblings. Like, I think you're my sister." But then I started talking to her and the names were matching up, and I talked to my dad about everything, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, we might be half siblings." And then from there, I was the second sibling she had found. And then we knew there were probably 2 other siblings, but for about 2 years, it was just the 3 of us finding each other because one of our siblings was under 18, so we couldn't really do much.
Okay.
But then I turned 18, went to college, first semester of college, and my phone starts blowing up, and I'm just in my dorm room, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Amy, we have another sibling." And I was like, "What?" And it turns out it was a full sibling. And we call each other twins. We look like twins, so that's good. And then from there, we found more siblings from my father's side, like the paternal side. And yeah, that's good.
That is absolutely amazing. And so I've been doing this work. I came to consciousness a little over 3 years ago now. And I feel like even within that span of time, it's been a lot of things have happened. And you've been doing this, we'll say, give or take, since 2015.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was in consciousness, but I'd say within the last 3 years, I finally came to consciousness because...
Well, and I think it's really interesting that you not only connected with a sibling who was doing an active search for other folks, but also that you were able to be there throughout the process of finding other siblings. You weren't just the last person to come into the mix. How has that been? What was it like to just go through that process? Were you actively involved in it as well? Or were you like, you've already got a handle on it, I'm going to let you take it and just hit me up when you find some other people?
Yeah, no. So I was involved in it, but not to the extent as my other siblings were. Like the sibling who found me, she was really involved, but we did a lot of Facebook searching, and then we finally did DNA tests, and then that led to other things. But by the time my full sibling had found me, because she actually knew about me my whole life, but she waited until I turned 18, and I did not know about her. But she knew I existed, and then she knew a few other siblings existed, but they were also hard to get in contact with because they were under 18. So we didn't want to like ruin anything there, you know? But I did a lot of Facebook searching, but I wouldn't have, I'd say that wasn't like one of my priorities at the time.
Sure.
But
you were
things
in college.
have changed. I was in college. I was a freshman in college.
Yeah.
I was diving. So
I can only imagine that being another thing added to your plate. And then, like you said, you know, you're kind of pre-consciousness, out of the fog, to use language that a lot of us use. And it's just a lot. And I think even in this short kind of explainer here about your reunion journey that you've been on, it really highlights the complexities of even just one part of adoption and the adoptee experience. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I think it is necessary context for the conversation we're about to dive into now, which is specifically what we do on the show here, is addressing the missing pieces of those conversations that we have. And for this series in November, we're going to be talking about the missing pieces of that conversation around the adoptee experience. So Amy, I just want to get right to it and ask you, from your perspective, what do you feel like is a missing piece of that conversation around our experiences as adoptees?
I think a very big missing piece that's missing is in regards to the different types of Asian adoptees and those experiences. And then the way your identity develops throughout the lifespan, and then the disconnection you might feel when reconnecting with your culture you come from, or not even doing that.
I love it. And listeners of the show will know that I've gone at length about this particular subject. But I want to hear from you. Can you dive into it just a little bit more about what you mean when you say the different aspects of Asian adoptees specifically?
So from my experience of connecting with the Asian adoptees of Indiana, I've kind of felt myself feeling a little like not left out, but I have a different experience because I'm not a Korean American adoptee or a Chinese American adoptee. And I just have a different experience of maybe like reunion, like the opportunity of reunion or getting in contact with other people.
Sure.
But yeah.
100%. Like, so the New York Times and a lot of publications recently, but the one that's been going around the most, I think, and gained the most traction is an article by the New York Times about the the adoption industry out of South Korea. Yeah. And it labeled, I think the headline was like world's largest exporter of children or babies or whatever it is. And while factually correct, I think something that we lose a lot in our conversations around the adoptee community specifically, especially within the community, is that just because we might be the biggest in number does not mean that we are the only. Right. Or that is the dominant experience that needs to be talked about the most. Like, it is one experience for sure, and it's always great to have numbers and facts and statistics to back it up. But it's really important that we are aware of the larger fabric that we're a part of, and especially coming from Asia, a continent made up of more than 50 countries, with even more cultures and religions and identities and things that make up all of those countries. Right. You know, I think it's really, it does get lost in our community a little bit. And I wonder, like you said, you know, feeling a little left out sometimes, a little on the outside of some conversations, because our group, even in Indiana, is predominantly Korean and Chinese. How have you found yourself connecting to Filipina community, culture, heritage in Indiana as you've navigated this journey?
So I've actually really struggled to find places to connect in Indiana, but I do have the opportunity to find connections like in Los Angeles, because that's where my biological siblings are, and getting to know my culture through them, because some of them are still with bio parents, and learning about the Filipino culture that way. But in Indiana, I'd say I'm making an effort. Like, for example, there's an Ube Fest this weekend, and I'm making an effort to go to like be part of that
100%
community. Yeah, it's hard here.
It is hard here. And I think that it's hard because I think even getting away from adoption and the adoptee community for a second, I think for Asian America outside of the coast, there is not always, but sometimes a disconnectivity between the different diasporic communities that exist wherever that might be. And I think that's very true here, at least from my perspective in Indiana, is that there are a number of different ethnicities, Asian ethnicities, that make up Asian America here in Indianapolis, in Indiana, and the state. But for whatever reason, there's not a lot of like cross community or cross organizational conversations happening.
Yeah.
And that can make it really difficult when someone is maybe maybe identifies as part of a community that's not as large as, say, a Korean or a Chinese or an East Asian community, who's trying to find their way into whatever that experience might be. How did you first find any connection to Filipina culture here in Indy? Like, what was there an in for you, or did you have to like create it for yourself?
The first that's a hard question, because I'd say right now I still don't feel as connected to the Filipino culture in Indy.
Okay.
One, that's a different conversation, but the Filipino culture is really hard because, like, to be part of if you're not born into it, because the culture kind of doesn't support adoption, so it's not something that's talked about a lot. But I'd say just meeting other Asian adoptees in Indianapolis or Indiana, and then just immersing myself with other people that are Asian.
Okay.
is getting me there.
For sure.
Finding events through them.
For sure.
Everyone.
Any events that you've been able to attend that stand out to you so far?
I went to Asian Fest this summer. That was this summer, yeah.
Okay.
That was fun. And I met more Filipinos, but not everyone was Filipino adoptees, so it felt different. But I did meet some Filipino adoptees, but and then that's about it.
Okay.
I've been just trying to hang out with more people who look like me in general, just Asian. That's how I'm immersing myself.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wild how powerful it can be to just be in the same physical space with somebody who looks like you. And also it can be, again, talking about the complexities of the adoptee experience, it can be really overwhelming sometimes when you don't have the cultural connection and you're not hanging out with folks who are not adopted or who don't have an understanding of that experience. As you've built or found, are you building, I guess, a little kind of Filipina community for yourself here?
I do not have one, but I'm open.
Okay.
I'm open. So if you know anyone.
Okay. I didn't know if any of those folks that you had met at the events like at Asian Fest, you were able to start, forming something like that for yourself. Even if not even like official, it's just like, hey, do you want to grab some coffee? Like it just hang out.
No, I haven't gotten there yet, but
it's hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard to take that step. I've been personally reckoning with the difficulties in connecting with Korean culture specifically and Korean folks. And we were talking a little bit before the show about how we identify. And lately I've been understanding, I think, a little bit how much I identify more specifically as an Asian American than I do as Korean American, because of a number of different reasons, but mainly because I feel like I've been defining Asian American as resistance.
Right.
And it's a resistance to feeling forced to have to learn and know and be an expert in Korean culture when I never had the opportunity to have that for 30 years. You know?
Yeah.
And realizing how difficult it is after 30 years to try and start learning all of that now, especially when I've come to terms with the fact that I'll probably never know the language.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
probably never
that's
gonna be able
the
to speak
language.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really difficult. And just understanding that that's okay.
Yep.
And a lot of times my mind, even though in my heart and soul I know it's okay, my mind is telling me that there's something wrong.
Right.
And I'm like trying to have to navigate that contradiction.
It's like the brain is like fighting itself. It's
Yeah,
like,
100%. Well, it's like there's the 3 different layers. Like there's the inner, like that core brain, and then there's the emotional brain, and then there's the logical brain, or whatever the thing is I was just talking about in therapy the other day. But it's just trying, again, we talked about balance, trying to find the balance between it all.
I'm all about balance.
And it's tough.
It's tough.
For sure. So you talked about how, particularly within our own group, how we are predominantly East Asian adoptees, and we can, I don't know if we specifically, but just in general in the community, can feel like we are missing out on other folks, other Asian diasporic adoptees who are not East Asian, who come from other countries, who have different experiences. How do you feel like, especially after going through and doing social work and really immersing yourself in that field, how do you feel like we need to go about addressing that for ourselves within our own community to make sure, maybe I'm calling in East Asian folks specifically, how do we make sure that we are including Filipinos, Vietnamese adoptees, Southeast, Middle Eastern, Central Asian adoptees? How do we make sure that we are not only being inclusive, but fostering a space of belonging for other folks?
I think we in Indy do a really good job. Like you said, how powerful it is just being in the same room as people. Like I was just recently talking to my sister before I got here, like my full sister, about the first time I went to a meal with you guys and how powerful that was for me. So I think having that space and opportunity to have that, like sit down with people and be like, oh, people have the same, like people know how I feel.
Right.
Like I know it's not going to be, everyone knows it's not going to be the same. Like no one has the same experience, but just opening up the conversation to talk and having those adoptee only events was really helpful for me.
Okay.
And I think also someone had brought up like a rating scale for like where you're at with the consciousness of being an adoptee and your racial identity. I think that was really important because I do think that there are some people who might not be as far along with their identity as we are, or like just in general, like racial
100%.
identity. So just having that and being aware of knowing that just makes it easier to be feeling like, oh, I do belong here. Like there are people that are in the same scale rating as I am right now, but like also for other Asian adoptees, it was important for me to know that no one's going to have the same experience, but there are people that will understand.
100%. And I think that understanding is so important, even if it's not like a full, like I fully understand, because obviously like we are two different, we come from two different ethnicities and two different cultures, like, and we've just even had two completely different upbringings, even though we grew up in the same state. Like it doesn't mean that we fully understand, but it's like a willingness
and empathy.
And an empathy. Yeah. Do you have any, like, I like those two suggestions, especially like the rating scale of like where you're at, because it helps you can connect then even further within the group and like, okay, that group over here is on an 8 and I'm only on a 4. I'm going to maybe stay over here.
Yeah.
There might be some stuff coming up over there. Is there anything else that you would like to see from events like these to help, again, foster inclusion, belonging, foster the feeling of, oh, I can show up here as who I am instead of trying to maybe be somebody that I'm not, or somebody that the community thinks I should be?
I think you guys do a really good job of being inclusive and being opening and welcoming. But there comes a point where like you as the person have to be able to be like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to go meet them, you know?
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Like there's so much that you guys can do, but there's also so much that I had to do as well.
Gotcha.
But like,
at the individual.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did get the push because for that dinner, I was like, I don't know if I want to go. I'm going to bail. And I sat in the parking lot for 30 minutes.
Okay.
But I was like, you know what? Like, I know I need to do this and I have the support, and just like reading the text of like how people have connected and like stay connected. It was that was it for me.
Okay,
Yeah.
Interesting. I did not know that you sat out there for 30 minutes, and I can definitely resonate with that hesitancy, the fear, the imposter syndrome even of it, even though like it's more so being Asian and adopted than it is like really anything super specific. It's just like these two identities that we share. It still feels like, am I enough of either of these things? And so I didn't realize that you kind of went through that. How did you feel leaving that dinner? Like, do you remember the feelings that you had after that? Because from my perspective, it felt like you were just like, had been part of the group for a long time.
Really?
You've just been chilling. Like you were there for it. And like you were engaged in all the conversations that we have. At least that's what I remember. So like, what do you remember about like when you left?
I remember let me start from when I got there. So
Okay.
I was obviously hesitant, and then we sit down and I'm still hesitant, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, okay, this is fine. But then as we started talking, I just got like everything in me just like relaxed. I was like, okay, like I said, I told my sister, I was like, there's people in this world that know how I feel, that have been through very similar experiences. And I was like, okay. And then I left and I was like, wow, I need to do that again. Like, I'm really proud of myself for like being able to get out of that car and sit down and stay. And I was excited for like more opportunities, which does bring me back to one thing that you said that we could do.
Yeah.
I think encouragement for being active in like the group settings was something that I needed.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm sure other people might feel the same way, because like new people that are added, it's intimidating to be added into that group. I remember it was like, oh, all these people already know each other, and like I don't know where I'm at compared to them, and like it was just, as an adoptee, you're growing up comparing yourself. So being in that group, I was just like, I don't know, but the encouragement was good. Like a lot of encouragement. And honestly, this might not be good for everyone, but being called out and be like, hey, Amy, are you coming? Like, what are your plans? Like, that would have been like, yeah, sure.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. All right. The encouragement. I like that. I like that. Here's the thing. I feel like we have been, and I take this accountability for myself on this, is just like, I've gotten so busy with other stuff, and this is like making excuses now, but like just trying to keep up with the group as it grows, trying to figure out where can we meet and do things, and then still meeting virtually or whatever the case might be. I feel like I haven't been as good as bringing that encouragement and setting us up to thrive in a way as like a new community. And so I appreciate hearing that, because I'm like, okay, I'm thinking in my mind as we move along in time, like, what do we need to do to like make sure people feel okay here? And if it's just encouragement, like maybe not just encouragement, but if encouragement is one of the keys, like, okay, that's great to know, because I can be active in the chat. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's like, if that's what it takes to help some folks feel like they can participate, you know, and they have not that you need the permission, but sometimes it does feel like, you know, like you were saying, it's like the encouragement kind of spurred you into action a little bit.
And I do remember one thing was that since we were eating at, I think it was a Korean barbecue. Yeah. Right. I don't have a lot of experience at Korean barbecue. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I was sitting there and I was like, I don't know what any of this, I don't know what any of this is. But I have been to Korean barbecue like a few times before, but it was with my sister who was adopted into Filipino family. So she would just order for me. She's like, you'll like this. And I was like, okay. Gotcha. So I never had to do it on my own. But yeah. And also another thing was like, I hope that one day we can like find a way to hang out and not have to like spend loads of money, you know?
Right. That is another thing.
Yeah.
And so sidebar, just really, that's something that I've been talking about with some folks in the group about, like, how do we maintain consistency and like how we gather and when we gather. How do we also make it sustainable? So like for people's capacity, because everybody's at different points. New people are joining the group like every 2 weeks, I feel like. And it's like, I want to make sure that people not only feel welcomed, but also feel like, oh, I'm not just in a chat. I'm just not part of another group text message.
No, I get that.
You know, so lots of things that I'm thinking about.
Yeah, the consistency part. I think if I had come into a group where I'd known like, oh, they're consistently meeting like once a month.
Yeah.
I would be like, okay, I can go this month. Or maybe not this month, but I know they're going to meet next month. So I know I can do that. But yeah, that just was going through my head right now.
Yeah.
But if I had a house and the resources, I'd be like, yeah, let's come to mine. You know?
Okay. All right. You know? I like that. All right. I've got a lot of ideas.
I know people are busy, so.
True. I've got a lot of ideas swirling in my head that hopefully we can start implementing here. But
hopefully we can do something.
Yeah, we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
So we've been talking a lot about like the internal community, not only of, like your own experience, but the experience we've had in the group of adoptees as adoptees. And I hope that for people listening, they kind of see not only the complex nature of what it means to navigate it as yourself, but to navigate even the local community of people as you try to like find your way into that.
Find your way.
For those folks who don't share this identity and this lived experience, how do they help support us as adoptees and making sure that they're addressing what you talked about specifically as in the breadth of diversity within the Asian adoptee community? How do folks outside of that community make sure that they're supporting us in that endeavor?
So that was a good question, actually. But you didn't prepare me for that. But I do. I always have answers. I have some friends that have been really supportive of my journey because they've been there since I came to consciousness.
Sure.
And it helps me. I don't know if it'll help anyone else, but I'll just get random like TikToks or videos of stuff like relating to like Asian adoptee experiences or just them being aware of like how adoption, just the impact of adoption in general, but also the encouragement from them to be with people, like to meet up with you guys, meet up with people.
Yeah.
Just, I'm a big encouragement girl. So
I like it.
Yeah, I think that's what it is for me. But just being aware of like adoption and the little comments of people, like just stay away from the comments of like, oh, I'm just going to adopt or like something like that. Just be aware of like adoption in general, like the problem with adoption.
Yeah. Well,
like,
go ahead.
I feel like adoption is never going to go away, but if you're conscious and aware of the impacts, psychological and physical impacts of adoption, like you can make the experience, support the experience of the adoptee.
100%.
As you can.
Well, there's like so many, again, one of the biggest issues with the narrative around adoption is it's so one-sided, so happily ever after focused. And it's been that way forever.
Happily ever after.
Yeah. And you like literally went to school and wrote a paper on it. Like you studied a bunch of other papers and like wrote a paper about that. And I think that's something from, again, kind of shifting back to inside of our community that has been a challenge, has been taking the scholastic work and the academic work that adoptees have started to do and have been doing, you know, for a while now, and making that accessible to folks, not only within the community, but outside of it specifically. Like to really take these concepts and distill them in a way that folks like start to understand and again can shift the narrative away from being so focused on one singular type of experience, which is it's really positive and everybody's lives happily ever after, and understanding that no, there is and so many other things that are happening here.
Adoptees grow up.
We become adults. We are not just infants the entire time.
We grow up.
Do you have, as somebody who just like did like a lot of research into this, do you have any ideas or thoughts about how we can take some of those concepts and make them a little bit more, maybe not palatable, but again, accessible, I think.
That's a good question.
Didn't prepare you for this.
No,
one
you
either.
didn't. More accessible. I think, one, I wouldn't have known about any of this if I hadn't done the research. But doing the research was an experience in itself.
Sure.
So that you have to be like, you need to be able to do it, like mentally.
Right.
Because it was a lot. It was hard, and I wouldn't say that I was ready for it, but I did it. And I just didn't know where or who to share the information with. So like just knowing, like connecting with people. I don't know. That's a good question.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think part of the answer for you, if I've heard it correctly, is like just finding community in general.
Yeah.
And like not only do adoptees need to build the community and find the community for each other, but like people outside of our community especially
Right.
can help to facilitate that, connect each other, connect folks, you know, and it's not just, okay, there's probably a problematic way to do that
Right.
for people, like being oh,
yeah.
you're adopted? Like, oh,
No.
my friend is adopted. You guys will get along great.
Oh, yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's probably the wrong way
like
to go
that's
about
not
it.
how to do it.
Yeah. But again, that's like, if we can figure out ways to make the research more accessible,
That's
people
what
will
I was
figure
going
it
to
out.
say.
Yeah.
I was going to go back to like, I was able to do the research because I had the resources because I was in school.
Right.
But that stuff isn't even accessible to me anymore. So
Right.
like, how am I going to keep doing the research? Am I going to pay money to read?
The scholastic journals are so expensive.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're so expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, we're going to figure it out. We're figuring it out right now.
We're on our way.
Amy, I appreciate you sharing everything you shared so far. And as we come up on our time here, I just have a few other questions.
Yeah.
The first one is, you know, you've just recently, we were talking about before we got on air, but you just finished up your degree, you know, you got your licensure, and you're like, I'm done doing any of this stuff right now. I got to take a break. Take a break. Who are you learning from right now, or who are you learning from at that time where you were really immersed in it? Like, who are some people that you've taken a lot of knowledge from, learned a lot of different things about, maybe even challenged your own perspective about what it means to be an adoptee?
So I learned a lot doing my research papers in school. And I also learned a lot from, I actually had seen your page.
Oh.
Before I knew you. Yeah, I saw your page. Yeah, I'd seen your page. And then there's another Instagram person, like she's on Instagram. The handle is the Empress Han.
Oh,
Learned a
the
lot.
Empress Han.
Han.
Yes.
Empress. Okay, me and vowels are bad.
You're all good.
Like,
you're all good.
Think about me in a different language. Vowels are bad. I've pronounced things wrong my whole life. But yeah, the Empress Han. And then just a lot of the resources from school.
For sure.
Yeah.
Any
hard to
particular researcher or book or something that you came across that really like stood out to you as something like, oh, this is my, I don't want to say Bible, but this is like my dictionary, my encyclopedia that I like to reference or go back to?
The one I really, really love to go back to and reference is, I'm really blanking on the name, but I could tell you it's the one about like out of the fog into the consciousness, like that one.
Yeah.
I think it's by, do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so, maybe.
I have it on here.
Is it Kim McKee's Disrupting Kinship?
No, it was something about into the consciousness, or like out of the fog into the consciousness.
Okay. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We can put it.
Yeah. It'll be available for people.
Looking at that, it's probably not. It's actually not in this paper, but it's a different paper that I didn't bring. But just even seeing that for myself while I was doing the research, I was like, whoa. And I sent it to all my siblings. I was like, you guys need to look at this. But some of them weren't ready to see that yet. Yeah. But just that model was great because it's different points that where people are at or find themselves, and like usually like the steps that people would go through during that process of coming to consciousness.
Well, especially for someone who has now reunited with so many siblings, like I'm sure you were able to see all of the different places somebody could be in that journey.
Oh yeah.
Like I think it's one thing to go on it by yourself and like see people parasocially on social media. It's a whole other thing to be like in a family of people that you've now reconnected
that are in
with
different
that are like
places. Yeah,
completely different. I'm sure
it's hard.
Yeah. I can only imagine 100%. All right, I have a bonus question here before we ask our final question.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with adoption, but you mentioned at the top of the thing that you are a diving coach. You were a diver for a long time.
Yeah.
What is... Okay, it's actually a two-parter. What is your favorite thing about diving? And what's something about diving that is either a misconception or something that people would not expect of a diver?
Oh, wow. Okay. I'd say my favorite part about diving is that it's a team sport, but you're doing it individually.
Okay.
Like at the end of the day, you're going to go to a competition and you have to show up for yourself first before you can show up for the team. So that like teaches you, I taught a lot of like accountability, like finding ways to motivate myself to do better. And I feel like I learned a lot of life lessons just being on a individual team sport is what I would like to call it. And then a misconception. Everyone thinks that we're swimmers. Like the only swimming I do is like doggy paddling to the side of the pool. Like other than that, like I can tread water, but like I don't swim. Like I can swim, but like I'm not going, like we don't swim for fun.
You're not doing laps.
No, we're not doing laps. We're swimming to get out of the pool. That's what we're doing. We're swimming to get to the top of the water or to get out of the pool. That's all.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I would have honestly probably categorized. I knew divers when I was in high school, and I probably would have said that they were swimmers. Not just
we
divers.
just share a pool. That's
okay.
all.
I like it.
Sometimes we don't even share a pool. They have their own pool. We have our own pool.
Yeah. You stay in the long lap pool. We'll stay over here.
Yeah.
And the deep pool that we can just get out of.
Exactly. Very quickly. Or sometimes if it's cold out, we'll just sit in the water a little bit, but we'll be like, yeah, you got to get out of the water. So
I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for asking.
Love to learn about all of my guests and all of the specific things that we're a part of, because we're not just adoptees at the end of the day. You know, we carry a lot of different things that are part of our
different identities.
And you're a diver. Like that's part of who you are. So I appreciate you sharing that. As we wrap it up here, Amy, thank you so much for sharing everything you shared here and teaching not only myself, but the people who are listening, the people who are watching, a little bit more about this experience. And as we move forward, how does our audience support you this month? And how do we get connected with you if we want to connect with you, if you want people to connect with you going forward as well?
Yeah. First, thank you for giving me this opportunity to share.
Yeah.
And support this month, I'm a big encouragement girl. So encouragement to be a part of my community, to be active, like not sit in my house all day doing nothing, but like at least make an effort to like be out there is good. But also, if you want to follow me on social media, I have an Instagram. You can follow me at Amy Plo, AMYPLO. But yeah, that's about all I use. I try it. Yeah.
I feel you. There are too many social media apps. Yeah. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Facebook.
Yeah.
I basically just use Instagram. I don't use Threads anymore. I used it for like 2 days and got off of that.
I do have a TikTok that I use for my coaching, but it's mainly diving and rock climbing.
And rock climbing.
Yeah, I know. I forgot to mention that actually.
All right. Yeah. That'll be the next time. We'll have to talk a little bit more about rock climbing. But Amy, I can't thank you enough again for coming on here, sharing, for being a part of the show. For everybody else out there, you can find links to all of the things that we talked about, including the book or paper or whatever it was.
I'll find it.
Not 100% sure of.
Yeah.
In the show notes, we will also include Amy's Instagram and how you want to connect with her TikTok, her diving and rock climbing TikTok in the show notes as well. Just really want to quickly shout out our video guy, Torrin Messer. He's walking around back here. Shout out to Soundspace and Lightbound Studios for having the space that I can record in now. If you want to support this show, you can leave us a rating or review wherever you get your podcasts. And make sure to subscribe to our weekly newsletter to stay up to date on everything that's happening here. Don't forget, paid subscribers get access to our weekly companion podcast. I wanted to say podcast conversation notes. And if you just want to chat about anything related to this episode or anything related to the show or just anything in general, drop us a DM at Conversation Podpiece on Instagram. You can also hit me up personally at Patrick and the World. And that's it. I hope you have a good November. Until next time, I'm Patrick Armstrong, and this has been Conversation Piece. Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.